Hello and welcome everyone to Planet versus Plastics podcast series. I'm your host Rumit Walia in this insightful journey for a world free from plastic pollution. Today's guest is somebody who's going to speak about fashion versus plastic, and it's a new partnership that we are also announcing. Please welcome Ms. Kashesh Bhatia from Kashesh Global with a new initiative with Earth Day Network. And let me start with the very first question. What came to your mind when you suggested this partnership and we reached out to you and saying that you will commit to one plant? I mean, that is a very good practice, but not a lot of people come up with ideas like that. So, how did it come?
So with Kashesh Global, my entire perspective of was to bring sustainability, luxury, fashion, and art together. And I have been into the fashion industry from last 15 years. The journey didn't started with being conscious or sustainable. It came across like an every other second designer that my job is to make somebody look pretty. And after more completing like a decade, made my name, did the job, and I was like, okay, is that something I would like to be known as, or there is something more which is in store for me? And with my research back in 2019, and then COVID hit, which was like a pause. It was not just the pause for me, but for everybody. I was doing completely like a research on like a fashion as an industry and the impact the fashion industry is making. Uh, Suddenly, it just felt that the entire pollution is being done by me. And honestly, I was not able to sleep for a few days.
Oh
And
God.
I was like, okay, yes, fashion is the most impactful industry, but how are we using that? Coming back to then after 2.5 years research, last year in October, I launched Kashesh Global with bringing the change. And I was like, okay, we are talking about the present and like with my research in the past, but what impact I would like to leave in the future as well as the legacy. And the journey was like, our journey should not stop at the moment we have delivered the garment. It should keep growing with it. And such a beautiful way of looking into that, for every garment you're wearing there is a tree planted. So you're wearing the garment, the life cycle of the garment can pass on to the legacy or not, but with that we are creating a planet and a future which is more sustainable, more greener. And I was like, okay, I completely believe in the impact of story and building in the community. And I just feel when people come together and if they believe in one vision, you can completely bring in the change. That's how back in June, we launched Conscious Collective, which is about bringing in sustainability not only in terms of the products, but how people from different areas can come together. And sustainability is such a different, it can be done in such a different ways and flavors. There is not only one way to look into it, there can be
Yes.
multiple ways which can be given, and we wanted to celebrate that diversity. And I'm so grateful and like I'm so honored to be a part of Earth Day Network, which completely believed in this vision and joined hand and partnered with us for bringing in the change, because it's a lot to do about learning, but I think it's a lot to do with unlearning with the things.
Yes. And you rightly said that people, I mean, we can ask people, it's the same scene with plastic. Plastic can be reduced to a very good extent, but it cannot be like eradicated from our life. Same goes with fashion. People will have to buy, people still be buying some clothes. I mean, they'll be repurposing it, donating it, or giving it to their youngers, which usually happens in India. But they still need to buy. And if they can buy from a source which is making sure that whenever you're buying sustainable things from us, we are planting a tree for you as well, and we are doing a community service. We're creating a community of all those artists, so it's really, it feels good for that consumer as well. Okay, I might, maybe I'm buying a fashion piece which I really really needed, but also at the same time I'm planting a tree and things like that. So it's very very good idea. And uh, so we, for the audience, we have this new partnership with Kashesh Global, as she already mentioned, and we are so glad as well. So my next question is, how is it going to be start the Conscious Collective, which is a new kind of a initiative? Is it going to be like the physical shops where people can go, or is it going to be in future an online platform as well, or where is the base and everything? So what's that first start point?
So at this point, it's an online platform where we are still working and building up with the backend. So right now, it's an online platform. Soon, it's like we are building up, talking to people about it, uh, getting different perspective on it, which would then turn into like a online shop in its own, which is not only connected with selling with what Kashish is doing, but different people can come together and it will be like a B2B platform where people can
Okay.
come, buy, collaborate, learn, educate, and grow themselves. So, as I said, it's a community. And yes, the longer perspective is to have like a shop also in different parts. So at this point, it is completely online from whichever part of the world you are. You can just sign in the Google form, and we are working at the back end to how to build up this as a membership as well.
Wonderful. So it's like a one-stop solution for people for sustainable fashion. I mean, they want to connect with the community, to know more about the designer and things, stuff, how it's being made, or just to buy like a consumer and things.
There is no one way or one direction. There are like multiple ways to look into it. Like you can swap your clothes, you can repurpose and make the new clothes. Like we have all seen that for our wedding day, we take out our grandma's sari, old sari, or
Yes.
our mom's wedding lehenga and we repurpose it. Why aren't we looking at sustainability as a red carpet event? Why can't we look at as a sustainable outfit for your wedding as well? So it
Oh,
doesn't have to be only every day. It can be a part and parcel of your as you breathe. Do you think, do I only breathe when it's my birthday, or I only breathe when, you know, uh, I'm happy or sad? You just breathe. Is the same thing. It's the way you choose. Not, it's not like, either or reality. It's just about including of everything.
I remember many of the stars are nowadays repurposing, reusing their outfits. So one of our ambassadors, Ricky Cage, who is a three-time Grammy winner, and then he also wore the same outfit, I think, three times on a red carpet, and giving the same message again and again that we can rewear the same clothes because. And I always say to these people that the Earth will not remember what you wore for the planet. I mean, it will remember what you did for the planet. So
Correct.
even if you're buying here at Conscious Collective, you are buying something sustainable if you need, and then you're also doing something for the planet. So that's a very good step for people that they can take. And I believe collaboration is the key nowadays because a lot of people, designers in every field, not just fashion, people are going into the competition. But I've always asked people like you and so many people that fashion was never about fast, like producing everything. It was about styling. It was about how can you wear the same clothes several times, what design, what suits you, what color combination, things like that.
Yeah.
So I hope with this initiative, people go back to that mindset and not with the mindset that every day they have to wear something new.
Yeah.
For audience also, as Kashesh mentioned, that it's going to be a one-stop solution. And to contribute into that, we are launching a Fashion for the Earth series where we will have three webinars and then we'll be discussing about. So one is going to be very soon, which is in September. Then we have in October, then December. So why don't you tell us more about what exactly the people would see or would experience from these webinars?
So, as we were all discussing about, like between us, also the conversation about that, there are a lot of myths about sustainability and how sustainability can be a part of your everyday. And it's not about ethical versus non ethical, or it's not about sustainability versus fast fashion, but it all boils down to our little steps and little choices which we can make in every day, which A is not necessarily very time consuming, or as a myth very expensive, or as a myth that it takes, makes you overwhelmed. So we are looking at creating this series which makes us aware about that one step which we can take, so our series is entirely about how we can bring sustainable changes which is more inclusive of everything. So, how we can give a different lens and different perspective to how you can look at fashion. So, our first is going to be about how to look at sustainability and what are the different ways. Like craftsmanship is one of the way, art is one of the way, repurposing is one other way, recycling is the other way,
Yes.
or just be conscious about one step at a time is also the way.
So I think with that we can wrap up this episode, and information for the audience who is going to be seeing this, that the registrations for this webinar series will be open very soon, and you can join all the sessions if you need a certificate of participation. And for knowledge, I mean, it's going to be full of knowledge. Amazing panelists, speakers will be there. Kashish will be there. I might be moderating these sessions as well. So you'll be getting a lot of information, opportunities as well, and to be in that community which is we are building for sustainable fashion. So thank you so much, Kashish, for doing this podcast.
Thank you so much for giving me this platform.
Yes. And for the people, always remember, keep it clean, keep it green, and every day is a mistake.